controversial subjects with the facts can be tense, but we are Ace Up Science here to make things make sense.
I'm so excited to talk about lucid dreaming. It's something that I, from a very young age, was obsessed with. Just the idea.
I know. I actually
of
was thinking about you a lot because there was a time where I feel like
I tried to do it a lot.
and then
yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't like brought it back.
I've had many lucid dreams. So today but I have never got, like, I'm not a person who's like a professional lucid dreamer at all.
Professional.
There are people who do this and can
For a
lucid dream.
living?
No, sorry. Right. Well, some people get paid in these studies to do it because they're like, what would you call experienced lucid dreamers, I should say. So today we're going to talk about, like, what is lucid dreaming, some techniques to even sort of trigger it if you're interested in it.
Updated research about why we dream, which I thought was so interesting.
Mm-hmm. And there's some really cool research on, like, can you use your lucid dreams to, like, can you do things in your lucid dreams that would actually be useful in life, whether that's be creative, whether that's like therapeutic. There's some really interesting studies that have come out even in the last couple of years that you're like, this is the future. It's freaky when we go into the brain like this, but so cool.
And we're gonna play a comment from one of you, but we've listened to them all. So many people messaged us about their lucid dreams. So just so you know, if you messaged us, we listened, we giggled, and for some of you who said don't play this, we won't play it, and we heard it. Okay, so I'm gonna start with maybe why we dream.
Okay, sure.
Get into lucid dreaming.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so here's just some like stats. 2 hours of dreaming a night is on average what we do. Okay. Even though you probably don't remember it. But I was like, that's interesting. So in total, on an average lifespan, you dream for 10 years.
Oh, whoa.
That's kind of like, okay,
that's
so
a big chunk
that's a chunkaroonie.
Yeah,
that's a toddler plus.
Toddler plus a toddler plus a toddler.
And so one study found the average person has 3 to 7 dreams a night. But again, we don't necessarily remember them. More on that later about how to do it. So the way
scientists are quantifying this then is presumably by brain activity and seeing like, they're obviously having visual stimulus in their brain, like parts of the brain that relate to visuals or movement or
it's lots
REM
of
sleep.
There's a lot of sleep studies. That's why you can get these kind of like facts. More than half of us remember one dream a week. Women are more likely to remember their dreams than men. That was one study I read, which was just like on average. And 1 in 40 dreams is a nightmare.
1 in 40 dreams.
Yes. Is like when, again, based on studies, extrapolating, blah, 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 blah. Well, nightmares, they think, okay, so then there's all these like theories about like why we dream. Mm-hmm. I think the most interesting and practical one is that because of the rotation of the earth and darkness, humans have to be in darkness, quote unquote, before fire or like even after fire. It's pretty dark for 12 hours of the day. And the visual cortex, they think because the brain has neuroplasticity and that much darkness, there would be like a concern that the visual cortex would like start to get taken over by other brain regions and all that darkness. And that dreaming and sleep is a way to like keep the visual cortex.
Yes. Oh, that's interesting.
I was like, that's so cool. So that's like,
I never heard that before.
Maybe the best in my opinion.
Maybe the best.
Like, no, like the other ones are like, about like the social reasons, like maybe you're having a nightmare about a fight with your best friend because it's supposed to help you like mentally prepare for if that happened.
Like evolutionarily, like prepping the brain.
Yeah, which I kind of was a bit like, it's a
I
stretch.
think people, like scientists don't necessarily think that means it literally. It's not necessarily that your brain is going to like play out, although sometimes it does play out specific situations, but I'm sure there's also like an emotional component of just like your body like analyzing things in a way that is, I don't know.
But that's why they were saying nightmares are maybe like a way of you practicing for a horrifying thing happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Or I guess so. I really just liked the visual cortex theory. And then, they're not fully random. If they made people play like that, like alpine skier game, actually in the study they showed.
Wait, is that the one with the Yeti that chases you?
Yeah.
That used to scare me a lot.
That game was fun.
But wasn't that like 1995?
Yeah, okay, but it was like there was it was clearly the same game, but it was a bit more 3D. So I'm sure this one was from like 2003. But they made people play it for like 3 days and then study their brains, and they would dream about it. Yeah. And they would also dream about Tetris if they. So it's like play Tetris.
You're processing information that you are taking in.
Yes, and it's more likely to happen, and you're going to dream about something if you're learning it.
That's interesting. And this will really relate to lucid dreaming because in order to lucid dream, oftentimes it's like taking information in your regular life and thinking about it a lot and then using that in your lucid dream to trigger your like awareness in a lucid dream. I'll explain more of that later.
Okay, well, yeah, that's like
Well, I've also, in the book Why We Sleep, which is like one of my favorite books, they do also talk about
that is one of your favorite books.
It's one of the most amazing books that's ever existed. Well, sorry.
Whoa.
I just mean, like, for me, like, I do think sleep is like transformative, and I can see how much sleep impacts me. Obviously, as you age, like, I've noticed it more as I age.
What
like,
do you mean? Like, you've noticed what?
If I don't have a good consistent sleep schedule, like, my life falls apart. And just realizing,
wait,
like,
really? What do you
in the
mean?
way
Like,
that you'd be like, okay, when you eat well, you feel good. When you move, you feel good. When you stimulate your brain, you feel good. And when you sleep, you feel good.
so when have you noticed that your life fell apart from not sleeping?
Just
when have you not
anytime,
slept well?
anytime I like, of course it's linked with like drinking or having edibles, but also times if I'm just like stressed or have a lot to do or just not getting a good sleep, my back problems are way more likely to pop up when I'm sleep deprived. Like for me, it's like if I'm going days getting less sleep than I normally would, I could start to feel that I'm more cranky. I'm not performing in the same way. I'm not enjoying life in the same way. Like there's so many factors. Like, don't you
But
feel
sometimes you do something that I'm not as aware of. You'll be like, you'll wake up from like a normal night sleep and go, I didn't sleep well.
Isn't that crazy, folks? Greg doesn't have this problem of bad sleep.
No, this is because I'm like, I obviously get up and piss like a racehorse because I'm an idiot who panics about drinking water at like 9 p.m. and chug. Like I'm saying I get up like 4 times a night and pee. Like, and then obviously that's not like quote unquote sleeping well. But then I don't ever, but sometimes you'll be like, you'll get up and be like, you've been in bed for like a solid 8 or 9 hours, but you're like, it didn't count as well because like,
girl, don't tell me 9 hours. You're the one in bed for fucking 10 hours. I'm 8 or less.
Okay, so we're gonna have a full fight on the pod. What do
you mean 8 or 9 hours?
8 hours. But then sometimes
I do aim for 8.
What do you mean when it's been bad?
Okay.
Like,
this is what I'll say, and I think that everyone is different anyway, but there's lots of studies on sleep quality. So just because I aim for 8 hours of sleep as much as I can. Just because I was sleeping for 8 hours, not all sleep is created equal. So like that's why alcohol is so bad. You could then sleep for 8 hours, but it's impacting the way your body chemistry works. Like if you eat right before bed, or if you're waking up in the middle of the night to go pee, there's lots of factors. If you're stressed, like you're probably going to have different quality sleep, like your body's just reacting. So there are times, and who knows, the weather affects you. Like there's just times when
you can just tell.
For no reason, I'm just like, I got my 8 hours, I woke up, but I have a headache. Or like, I just feel
so it's
way
just
more
the way
tired.
you feel. It's not like you remember the night before that you like woke up a bunch.
Sometimes.
Or you lucid dreamed. Or
sometimes it's like, oh, I was tossing and turning. I kept waking up and noticing it. And sometimes I'm just up and I'm like, I don't know why. I just don't feel like it was a good night of sleep. So I think I can't necessarily quantify it, but I'm sure others can relate with that, where you're like, I got the right amount. For me also, it's like, the sleep time matters so much. Like weekends can throw me off. If I get when I'm in a good flow of like, go to bed at midnight, wake up at 8 a.m. and I do that for weeks in a row, it's like, I'm feeling so good. But then if a weekend comes and I kind of throw it off by staying up till 3 a.m.
I watched Drag Race till 1.
Then actually I think my next sleeps are also thrown off when I'm trying to balance back.
You're always so in tune with it. I'm not.
Well, that probably means you don't need to be as much. Like I think
I just don't know.
It probably doesn't affect you as much.
I think I just like.
It's because I am like, it makes me a bad person. Like, I don't like feeling that way. It's difficult for me to manage my emotions when I'm sleep deprived. And
whereas I just like pop an edible, get some energy, and just pretend that everything's fine.
You're a more energetic person. I think like some people are more affected by bad food. Some people are more affected by caffeine. Like I think I am very sensitive to poor sleep.
Actually, every time I don't sleep, I get strep throat. That's bad.
There you go.
But that's usually linked to partying.
And you also don't have like pain receptors. So it's like,
okay, well, drag us redheads just because we can't feel pain. We're absolute freaks. Okay, teach people how to lucid dream.
Okay, well, first I had some quick little facts. Lucid dreaming was first sort of recorded in the 4th century BCE by Aristotle. Like wrote about lucid dreaming.
Damn, he just like keeps coming up.
He's famous for a reason.
It's crazy when there's like that like random old like dude that just like
knew a bunch of stuff that we're still like
still blows my mind. It's like
but this is actually crazier because Einstein's like not that long ago.
Okay, drag Einstein.
No, I'm sorry. He is actually like the ultimate.
Okay, well, Mitch hates Einstein.
Do I? Oh
what? No,
I'm joking. I mean,
he was probably a misogynist and homophobe.
No, I actually don't think he was. I think he was like really progressive and smart and interesting.
Yeah, and he definitely sucked dick on the DL.
Okay, probably not. I think then in the early 1900s it was brought up, but it was like in the 1970s that they started studying sleep so much more, and they realized lucid dreaming almost exclusively happens during REM sleep, but there are exceptions. Half of people have experienced a lucid dream in their life, and about 10% experience it every month, at least once or more.
Whoa. Okay, also, the definition is either a faint recollection that you are in a dream or full control of that dream. So it's like people might be like, I've never lucid dreamed, but it's like if you've actually had a moment, which I think I can remember, where I'm like, oh my God, I'm dreaming, that counts.
Yeah, I think as we talk a little bit about like ways to induce lucid dreaming, a lot of times what happens for beginners, or so I read, is like as soon as you're aware or try to influence your dream, you're likely to wake up because it's so exciting. Especially if it's like if you're doing something really cool, or let's say there's like something sexual, like anything that's gonna get you excited is more likely to wake you up. So
imagine you could like
now she wants to lucid dream.
Like I could like have sex with Bad Bunny and not wake up. Oh my God.
A lot of people say like that's literally the hardest thing.
To have
like,
sex with Bad Bunny.
It's like you can fly, you can like control things, but to have sex in a lucid dream is like often wakes people up. Because it's
my God, it's like of course it's like the ultimate human condition to like bang someone in a lucid dream.
That's what we're most excited for.
It's so sad how now I'm like, wow, I actually finally want to try.
That's so funny.
Or Rosalia, or bang Rosalia.
I feel like at some point you're more likely to just like, we're going to create like virtual systems where you're going to be able to just like
bang Bad Bunny.
It's going to be like porn, but virtual with Bad Bunny. You're going to be able to do it.
But I feel like that's so
it'll be legal though.
He's like mad that people are even filming his concert. He's obviously not going to like be happy if people are VR eating
porning
his butt.
him.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that was a side note. Wow.
So back to lucid dreaming. Yes, I think it's important to recognize that range. At the extreme end, people are like, I can go to sleep, realize I'm dreaming, and then control my dream.
And then they're like, I believe I can fly.
I've done that before.
That was R. Kelly.
Oh.
Canceled. Sorry, guys. Continue.
So yeah, being able to like manipulate the environment, being able to fly, being able to like do whatever you want. But I still think...
Oh, here, I got a better one. You and I were meant to fly higher than the sky. We'll sail across the sky. If I can fly with Celine Dion...
then it's worth it.
Then in a dream, then it's worth it. That was a famous Celine Dion ad for Air Canada ever since I've flown Air Canada.
Okay, so let's talk about what you can do to lucid dream. We actually have an old video that goes through even more techniques, but
it's got 8 million views, my friend.
Oh, does it? I didn't look at it.
Sometimes I look at our old videos and I'm like, damn. That's wild.
We're riding off our old selves.
Oh, wow.
So these are the 3 techniques that tend to have like the highest success rate in more recent studies, but there are other ways that you can explore this. Something that isn't here, for example, is like journaling every night. The first step is often like remembering your dreams, because if you can't like be conscious in your dreams and remember it, what's the point? So the more you journal, wake up immediately and journal your dream, the more likely you are to have and remember your dreams, and then that can sort of start the cycle of lucid dreaming.
I feel like that, I thought that was one of the most important, is to dream journal.
Yeah, I guess like...
But maybe not.
I shouldn't say these are the 3 most important. This was just like a more recent sort of summary of some cool lucid dreaming.
Because there's something really practical that for me, when I think about lucid dreaming, that would be my start. A book beside my bed. Yeah. Every morning I wake up and I try and remember my dreams.
Yeah. Our dog's like running upstairs. I don't know why.
No, he heard a door shut and now he's like inspecting to see if it was like, no.
He's so cute.
Okay. But I feel like journaling is a really smart one.
Yes. And I guess though, but the point of that is not necessarily to lucid dream, it's to remember your dreams.
Yeah, but that's a huge part of it, because it's so interesting how you're like, wow, I just made out with Bad Bunny in my dream. I'm never going to forget this. And then you like walk to the shower and you're like, what did I dream about?
That's
it's so like, if you've written it down, it's like so key.
I do find that
so interesting there.
One of the weirdest experiences where you're like, I won't forget this.
And
it is like within the span of 30 seconds of movement, it's gone. Yeah. Even though you feel it so viscerally and like know it. And then it's weird when dreams flash back to you like suddenly later. You're like, oh my gosh, I had like this crazy dream about that.
So I like, for me, I want to start doing this just because I want to make out with Bad Bunny in a dream. And then where I'm going to start is the dream journaling, because it feels the most easy and practical. There's like a pen, a paper, and for me that's like helpful.
Yeah. Okay. Technique number 1 is called reality testing. So this is checking your environment several times a day when you're awake and checking whether you're dreaming or not. So a lot of people will even say like you look at your watch or a clock multiple times a day, look away and look back. Because often in a dream, the numbers will change if you do that. Or you go to flip a light switch on and off, and you're supposed to do this in the regular world, so that it's like it's a condition of like.
Okay, so you're reality checking all day when you're not sleeping, so that at night you start reality checking.
Pick a few things so that in your dream you are like, oh, I'm going to turn this light switch on and off and see if it actually tracks with the light. I'm going to look at this clock, look away, and look back.
And you're going like, I'm reality checking.
Yeah. So that is something to start doing in your day to day, and then you will hopefully eventually start doing that in your dreams. Next, it's wake back to bed. So like waking up and going back to bed. It says wake up after 5 hours. Staying awake.
Set an alarm? That's bad.
Staying awake for a short period, then going back to sleep is more likely to send you into REM immediately. And that's where your dreams are likely to occur. And if your mindset is thinking about
that
lucid
seems
dreaming,
crazy.
You're more likely.
Because you're like, that's a little like, isn't that bad to wake yourself up?
Yeah, this is like
if you really want to lucid dream more than even have a good night's sleep.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And maybe you've got 10 hours to sleep, so you're like, I could wake up and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
And this next one connects with that. It's called mild. So it stands for mnemonic induction of lucid dreams, and it's while you're going to sleep. It says after this, like waking up after 5 hours.
Wait, you mean like when you just are lying in? Oh, like, no, this is after you've woken up.
Yeah, you could do this when you're trying to go to sleep. But the thing is, after you wake up in the middle of the night, you're more likely to fall asleep like right away.
Yeah.
And go back into REM sleep.
Okay, wow.
Whereas at the beginning of the night, you're not like falling right
Well, you
into
could
a
do
dream.
it after a night piss.
Exactly.
Which I'd love to do.
Yeah. But the only thing about a night piss sometimes I think is that you've come out of a sleep cycle. Like your body's waited to like the moment when you're in light sleep, and then you like, you know what I mean? Your body's naturally woken itself up versus. Okay. So you're going to, after that, when you're going back to sleep, repeat the phrase, the next time I'm dreaming, I will remember that I'm dreaming. And you do that over and over.
Wait, what? Like in your head?
Yes. The next time I'm dreaming, I will remember that I'm dreaming.
Whoa.
And so as this is your intention, you're more likely to actually lucid dream. So they say these three techniques combined have a 17% success rate of having a lucid dream in just 1 week. So if people were to just focus on those three, there's a chance in the first week, like a 17% chance you'd have a lucid dream. But if you're able to go to sleep within the first 5 minutes of completing the mild technique, so like you're tired enough that you fall asleep, the success rate is up to 46%.
Whoa.
So like in studies, they're like, okay, that person actually fell asleep within 5 minutes.
Mild means mnemonic.
Mnemonic induction of lucid
So
dreams.
mnemonic meaning literally just saying I'm going to like remember my dream.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
I will say there are a lot of other techniques. So don't take this as like a full, there's like even entire Reddit posts of people like going through.
Oh, you bet there's a Reddit post.
Yeah. So don't take this as a full, this was mostly based off of like one particular study.
Also, I read one study that like daily meditation helps because you're technically kind of like reaching dream states, I guess.
Like you would lucid dream while meditating, or you just mean like if you meditate, you're more likely
you're more likely to lucid dream.
Oh, okay.
Like if you meditate throughout the day.
Okay.
And I was like, I guess that kind of makes sense. You're probably like popping in and out of like dreamlike states.
That's true. I'm curious why. Wish you knew the answer.
Well, it's science. We don't know the answer to a lot of these things.
This is a
just
quote.
Theories.
The mild technique works on what we call prospective memory. That is your ability to remember to do things in the future. By repeating a phrase that you will remember you're dreaming, it forms an intention in your mind that you will, in fact, remember that you're dreaming, leading to a lucid dream.
That's wild.
That's like what the scientists.
So you've never really committed to lucid trying these things? Are you going to try now?
I think for a little while I started dream journaling, but then I kind of...
That was when we made the video like 8 years ago.
Yeah, I think I was just like, I don't care about it enough to like... I'm so lazy. Like, this is something I always wish I could get better at. I often have like what feel like great music ideas right before bed or in the middle of sleeping. I'll wake up and like have one of those ideas. But to overcome the like tiredness is actually so hard for me. So often when I wake up and I'm out of an actual dream, the motivation for me to actually write it down is so low that I found it very challenging. Because I was just kind of like, I don't care that
Even
much.
first thing in the morning?
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
I know, obviously, like, I didn't do it either, but I think I want to start just for fun, even just to remember. Because one thing one study I read was that the importance of dream journaling is that then you can see patterns, and then you'll, like, during the day cognitively be like, these are the patterns of my dreams. And then when they start happening in your dreams, you're like, whoa, I'm in the pattern.
Yeah.
And I was like, it would be cool to, like, look back on your dream journal and be like, there's patterns. I remember that because I can't write, like, famously don't know how to write.
You mean like legibly or period?
We're going to say legibly so that no one judges me, but punctuation, my friends still don't know what a comma is. But because I can't write.
You should see Greg text, actually.
Because I can't write legibly. I remember I was dream journaling and I'd be like, I'm going to look back. And it was like, if I can't write in the middle of the day, think about my writing first thing in the morning and like trying to get it out. It's like, there's something.
Or dictate it.
Oh, that's so smart.
Voice to text.
There's something so rough about waking up and like hauling a laptop on your lap and start typing your dreams.
Yeah,
seems intense.
Your phone, a lot of people have their phone there.
Yeah, but I don't now.
Wow. Okay.
I lock my phone
Who does?
away.
Talking about meditation.
I lock my phone and my iPad in these little cages. It's crazy. And now it's actually like changed my life, but it's so sad. Like locking them in their little cage and being like, I actually have no control, that I have to like.
It's like a timed box that doesn't let him have
and the
it.
only way you can get them is if you smash the box, which I do see myself doing in the future at some point.
I have a couple other really cool studies.
But should we play the thing?
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
to music.
Oh, yes. We have a little voice note from, let me catch their name. One sec. I think it was from, which one? Was it Mary?
Mary.
Right? Yeah, okay. This is from Mary. These are her thoughts.
Mother Mary?
Okay, no.
It was Easter.
Mary. Here we go.
Hi, Greg and Mitch. My name is Mary. I'm listening from New York. And I was just listening to the episode about what people think about before death. And you guys were talking about like lucid dreaming and how if you write it down before bed, you can oftentimes remember your dreams. And you mentioned like Mitch writing a song in a dream or doing work throughout your dream or whatever. And yeah, you asked for some like feedback on that. I thought it'd be interesting to share that. So I'm a musician, and I also did I did a dual degree, and one of them was also in psychology. And I did a lot of work with like dream analysis and dream psychology and like Jung and stuff just for fun. And I started to be able to like write songs in my dreams, specifically just like before bed and in the mornings. Like mostly when I'm falling asleep, I'm able to like kind of like a shower thought or something where it like releases your inhibition and you can just like write. But if one time in particular, I literally wrote a song in a dream. I'm going to release it probably by the time you're listening to this. I'm calling it Song from a Dream. And I wrote the entire song in a dream and was able to just wake up immediately, remember all of it. So that was like really insane. And I feel like there's a whole thing happening.
Oh, I think that got cut off. But
well, there's only 90 seconds.
Oh, but no, I think that I downloaded it. Maybe it got cut off. Either way, that was like that. I think that's the bulk of the point. If it didn't, that's crazy to me. And
really,
so cool.
But like, yeah.
So this leads into some research of mine. But first, I want to talk about like if I knew I could do that, and that was like I could be successful.
I love how like your motivation to write a song, mine's to make out with Bad Bunny in a dream. Although no, actually painting, to design a painting in my dream would be awesome.
Because I think when you're dreaming, you actually are uninhibited. It's like a part of your brain that can be more creative. That's why a lot of times, even like the Beatles famously would like try. I don't know. They talk about like coming out of a dream and writing songs because it's like your brain has just been in this state that's like going to allow you to explore in a different way that is harder when you're in your conscious waking life.
It's always the Beatles. They're always like, the Beatles did acid and wrote. It's like, well, I'm sure SZA did acid. You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny. We always go back to the Beatles.
Okay.
They did it first.
I don't know. Like, it was just, that's a quote. Or like, I've heard
I
that.
know. They like lucid dreamed a song. So, but so did Mary.
Not lucid dreamed. They would just like, oftentimes I feel this too when I'm going to sleep is when a lot of ideas pop up, or when I'm coming out of just kind of that weird phase of half sleep. You're like thinking of cool ideas.
Yeah, like there was a Taylor Swift like New York Times, how they made a song thing like that where she like thought about it in her dream. She like shot out of bed and was like, shake it off, shake it off, and she was like, that's gonna change history.
I mean, I have like really embarrassing voice notes for the few times I've been able to like wake up in the
They're probably good.
It's honestly,
but that's not lucid dreaming, right? That's just
no, that's not lucid dreaming. What
like
Mary's doing is really interesting to be able to like spend time in a dream and then wake up and do it.
But oh my God, Mary.
So the study I found related to this, I think it was pretty recent, they were able to get participants who were experienced lucid dreamers to make music in their dreams. So I'm going to like try and explain how they did this. They put like EEGs, EOGs, and EMG sensors all over the body while they were awake, and they would teach them how to play specific melodies using their arm muscles. So it's like they would teach them how to play "We Will Rock You" using sensors.
It's always
body.
Queen and the Beatles.
I mean, at least Queen was queer.
It's always "We Will Rock You" and the Beatles. Continue.
So basically, if you see pictures of it, it's like they have all these sensors. They're teaching them like probably different sensations and micro muscle movements.
Flex, will rock you.
Then they redid this in their dreams and had them play the songs back while they were verifiably in REM sleep and then lucid dreaming. And they were able to successfully play these songs back in their dreams, suggesting that if you were lucid dreaming and did write a song, you could also translate it, not have to wait till you wake up, but like if you had this system on you, you could translate that out into sort of like the real world.
That's
which I thought was really
rad.
cool.
But wait, but if you and Mary were to write songs, you would have to just wake up and try and remember the lucid dream.
Yes, exactly. That would be the only risk of that is oftentimes like you forget dreams, and it's like,
you know, they're like, I actually saw it at the MoMA when I was in New York, the famous like Salvador Dali like melting clock.
Mm-hmm.
That was from a dream.
Oh, cool. Yeah, dreams are pretty fascinating.
Did you know that painting's so small?
Oh no!
Like it was the most like boner kill ever.
Like how small?
Like honestly, like 10 inches by like 12 inches.
Like a piece of paper.
Like a piece of paper.
That's bigger than.
Because like whenever you study it or see it, it's like blown up, and obviously a really detailed photo where it's kind of like I was like, does it? Like I literally like I honestly was just like, damn, don't meet your idols. Like it was so like obviously it was cool, but it was way cooler when I learned about it in school on like the big projector.
Yeah, you picture like this massive.
It was
world.
weird, and same with like a lot of paintings are epic when you see them in real life, but that one was particularly like. Wow.
Yeah.
So not interesting.
Isn't the Mona Lisa kind of like that too? Isn't it pretty small?
Yeah. Well, it's like completely average portraiture size. And it's like, yeah, the eyes are always looking at me, but like so are
every
a lot
other
of painting.
Yeah.
There's always so many people like clamoring around, and it's so weird. And you look like on the other wall and there's like a gorgeous like Dutch master's
that no
painting,
one cares
and you're
about.
like, well, it's just like, yeah.
Last experiment I want to talk about, because this also blew my mind. Experimenters were able to have conversations with lucid dreamers. So they got, again, experienced lucid dreamers. They tracked their brain activity, made sure they were dreaming, and they would ask them yes or no questions. And previously, they did this study in like 4 different countries, and they had different versions of how they would respond. But for example, they might ask them a yes or no question in which like certain movements, either in their face or their eyes, would represent a yes or
so
a no.
So these are actually professional lucid dreamers.
Well, yeah,
like
exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know how often they're getting paid for it, but they're obviously.
If I was like, if the scientists were like, we want to do a study on you, we'd be like, cough it up, big bucks, because I can like literally communicate with you in my sleep.
Yeah. So this was them like asking a question to the sleeper while they had brainwaves showing they were asleep. Then this like being like, what's 8 minus 6? And then the lucid dreamer would, you know, look to the right twice to indicate that, or however many times. Like, I was like, I can't do math. Yeah, 2.
Yeah. Is there a way they could communicate and say, I don't know the answer?
Well, they said, so they got 20% of the questions right, only 3% wrong, and 60% of the questions got no answer. So it was like interesting. Obviously, they're only getting some answers. And then the dreamers woke up and they would describe sort of like the weird situations they were in when they were asked the questions.
That makes me want to do it.
Like someone said they heard the math problem coming through a car radio, and the other person said that they like were interrupted, like there was a narrator in a movie asking him if he spoke Spanish. So it's like they were hearing the questions and then would react to them.
Oh my God. If someone, imagine if it was like to us about speaking Spanish and we're like, I'm Poco. Like, it's like, that's such a funny question because I'd want to say yes, but I obviously can't.
Yeah.
But I wish I could.
Yeah, like, we need a maybe.
I know, I need a maybe because I've been practicing for 2.5 years and all I can do is order goddamn beer. Okay, also, we got a note from someone that's in full Spanish and it's like, so...
We can't translate it.
We can't translate it and we want to know what it is so bad. And at one point he does say Puerto Rico and his voice, I must say, is extremely attractive. And I was like, is this Bad Bunny? Like, imagine when we were like, Benito, do you listen to our podcast? Like, imagine he's left us a voice note, but we just don't know enough Spanish. He's like, hi, it's Bad Bunny here. Anyways, we'll play it for you. Okay, we have to have an episode where we'll play it and then someone has to promise to tell us
to translate it. I'm sure we have a Spanish friend who can translate
it. Oh
yeah,
that's true.
All this leads for me, like the conversations for these studies, like why do this is like, okay, could you learn skills while you're sleeping? One of the big questions is like, could this be therapeutic? Could it be used to help deal with trauma or anxiety or depression? Like, is there a way to use people's sleep? But the other side is like, you already brought up, does lucid dreaming negatively impact your sleep? And there's some mixed evidence on this, so there's not a lot of evidence.
Oh, whoa, you're like not resting because you're like wide awake.
Well, think about it. If you're doing the technique to wake yourself up intentionally, that might not be great. And anecdotally, people in these sort of like lucid dreaming forums would be like, yes, it negatively impacts my sleep. Like I can tell if I spent the night lucid dreaming, I don't feel as well rested.
Oh my God.
That's not from a study. That was just me seeing people say it online.
Last night was a movie, bro. Literally. Because you lucid dreamed the whole thing. And you wake up, you're not rested at all because you just made out with Bad Bunny. I'm gonna learn.
Okay, you promised to come back and tell us if you.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and start. I'm gonna start with dream journaling, but I actually am.
Yeah, start there. I don't know. I hope that was interesting enough information on lucid dreaming.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna reality check right now. They also said a way to reality check is to just try and put your literal hand through your other hand because, like in dreams, like you will.
Interesting.
Like you just push your hand in your hand and you go, okay, I'm not dreaming. I'm not dreaming. And then when you lucid dream, your hand will just go through your other hand. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
I can't decide if I'm going to try again. I'm trying to figure out the motivation to do it. And I just don't know if I have it right now, but we'll see. I love the idea of lucid dreaming, but I hate the idea of doing work to have to lucid dream and maybe not actually getting to lucid dream.
Yeah. No offense to you, but like you're not going to do it. Like I know.
It's just like there's a lot
and I'm also not
of other problems in my life that probably need more addressing.
Yeah, I'm going to do it for 3 days. I'm going to be like, I haven't kissed Benito yet. Okay, done. Like, you know us. Like, go back to our New Year's resolution episode. We don't want to talk about that.
Wait, mine's not so bad. Like I've fallen in and out, but it's important that we just like keep coming back to it.
Me too. Namaste.
Okay, let's take a little break and then we'll come back for some What You Learned This Week's and maybe another comment corner or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.